No, you were confident of a beat, so congrats on that front. Is this broadly what you're expecting?
Yes. By the way, thanks for the opportunity. I think Micron delivered what we were expecting, but for the stock to continue to move towards our price target, the investors have to be convinced that margin expansion story is going to remain intact, especially into 2022. So hopefully Micron in their earnings conference call, which is going to start in 20 minutes, will address this. But I think from here on is a margin expansion story. And in my opinion, we still have 10 points of upside on margins from here.
What's that driven by? Falling costs? It's
falling costs, which is which is embedded in Micron or memory manufacturing model. This is a high cost. Once you get unit volume to a certain level, then the drop through is going to be enormous. And what is interesting is that investors and every up cycle forget about this fact that at a certain point, the margin expansion is going to take off. And I think this is what's going to drive the stock towards our price target of $150. So in that context, yes, margin expansion was delivered for the reported quarter. Their margin guide is also encouraging. But I think investors have to be convinced that this is going to continue, especially into next year.
What's happening with DRAM pricing, which is so key to the stock and the story?
So that's a very good point. I think one of the reasons that Micron stock has underperformed over the past 2 weeks is increased noise that DRAM prices are going to flatten out exiting this year. But I think what is missed here is price decline is not going to flatten out. Price decline is going to accelerate into next year. On top of that, we think that a smartphone market, which is a big end market demand for DRAM, is going to strengthen into next year. So despite the flattening in DRAM prices into late this year, I think memory prices will rebound, DRAM prices will rebound, and margin expansion will continue.
So you mentioned smartphones there. What's the other key top-line driver for them? Cloud?
Obviously, cloud infrastructure that has become a big driver for DRAM and NAND demand, but a strength in cloud infrastructure is already understood. I guess perhaps investors have to be convinced that that strength is going to sustain into next year. But I want to emphasize that I think a smartphone, which has been kind of going through a correction, is going to be that juice, is going to be like an incremental demand driver, which combined with cloud demand remaining strong, with a cost down, is going to get us at least $15 of annualized earning next year.
Last time we had Sanjay Mehrotra on the show, Mehdi, he was meeting with President Biden, or at least engaged in the conversation around the semiconductor shortage and just what the U.S. is going to do about it in the long term. As far as national security concerns, I know he's been meeting with the administration on this. Where does Micron fit in with the supply constraints that we are seeing, and how fast is it addressing it?
I think the geopolitics are positive in terms of headline, but when it comes to Micron, is underlying fundamental demand drivers, a smartphone, cloud infrastructure. I think when it comes to made in USA, it's more applicable to Intel bringing some of the leading edge logic manufacturing to US that is going to be a factor. When it comes to memory, I think it's great that there is support from Washington and politicians, but it's all about demand drivers. I'm not sure if that's going to have a material impact into that $15 of earning power next year.
The stock is now lower. It's been all over the map here after earnings.
Yes.
Mehdi Hosseini with the $150 price target. Thanks for joining us with your first quick reaction.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.